Hello, welcome to the 16th episode of my podcast, Open Conversations. I'm your host, Young Bella Sabedwo, and this episode we're going to be talking about, you know, NBA playoffs, second round. Obviously, it's the start of the the conference finals tonight, and going to be talking about those matchups and more just basketball talk. And um, to get right into it, to the first topic, um, recap / review of the second round of NBA playoffs. So so obviously I gave my picks of who I thought was going to obviously advance and get to the Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals. I went 2 for 2 with the Heat and Knicks series. I had picked the Knicks to advance, but the Heat, won the series. I was obviously incorrect about my pick. I'm gonna take accountability on that, and the Heat definitely surprised me. They came out. Jimmy Butler continued, his great play. The role players on the team, especially Kyle Lowry, played well. Bam played well. Caleb Martin, and Coach Spoelstra, Eric Spoelstra's coach. He game playing well. He made some good adjustments. I was critical of his his coaching and some of his lineups and how he was doing things throughout this year, and I got to give him props, man. He's definitely taken the Heat a lot farther than I had expected, and has done a great job throughout the series, with his coaching, making adjustments, having a good game plan. And I gotta give him kudos for that, and acknowledge that. So, but the Knicks, they were inconsistent. I think Jalen Brunson had a great series, showed why he's likely gonna be. He had an All-Star year, All NBA caliber year this year. I know. So I know that this season up and coming, people are that's gonna be an expectation coming in for Jalen Brunson, given the play he's played this year. So it's great to see seeing him continue to show that he can be a star in the NBA, and take on bigger roles and responsibilities on an NBA franchise team. And it's been pretty good watching. I know he's gained a lot of fans and believers, this past season of his game. RJ Barrett had a couple good games. Randall was in and out of lineup. I don't think he kind of got a rhythm while he was out there. It didn't seem like he was able to really catch a rhythm, and kind of hindered their play overall, because I think they needed him to really have a great series for them to to have won that series. But he had a subpar series, and so ultimately they lost. And so probably got to add some new guys to the roster. Got a nice little clique of guys, like I said. Jalen Brunson really showing that he can be a star, all-star player in this league. And so yeah. Then Denver Nuggets and Phoenix Suns. I had chose the Phoenix Suns to advance. Obviously, that did not happen. I was incorrect about my pick on that. And the Denver Nuggets actually won the series, um, and are advancing to the Western Conference. Jokic was just unstoppable. Was just having his way offensively. Just couldn't be stopped. He was, triple doubles, average triple double throughout the series with like 30 points, and he uh, he just really showed that he's the MVP and he's a superstar in this league. And the role players, the other, Jamal Murray had a couple great games. Aaron Gordon, Porter Jr., Bruce Brown, all these guys, had some good games. And you know, uh, with Phoenix, they uh, Devin Booker was just, you know, was just on fire, you know, throughout the series. Last game kind of was he didn't play too well the final game, but he was on fire throughout the series. KD, followed suit, played well throughout the series, had a couple 30-point games. Um, and they I think they really just needed the role players, the guys around outside them to really show up. They had Chris Paul was injured. They had one game where Landry Shamet really showed up and played big for them, but other than that, they didn't really have too much from bench production. um as a whole. I think they just really needed the bench to show up for them. And then defensively, they weren't too great of a defensive team. They're primarily leaning on the play of Booker and KD to just kind of go off. But like I said, you need the other guys. DeAndre Ayton didn't wasn't too didn't really have a dominating series. So they felt short. I think they got to just get a better bench, add some depth to their team, and they should be they'd be right back in the mix next year. And then you got Boston Celtics 76ers. um I was correct in terms of my pick. Boston Celtics won the series against the 76ers. Jason Tatum had an incredible game. Um, yeah, Game 7 had an incredible game, 51 points, 13 rebounds. Man, just dominated the game. Uh, the game before, he had a slow start to the game. First 3 quarters, he was kind of slow, and then the fourth quarter, he hit about 4 3-pointers just in a row, and it really, I think, was kind of like the momentum that came. He kind of came into that Game 7, and just good. Shout out to Jason Tatum, and still maintaining his confidence. Even with having a slow start and kind of missing, just kind of off and things, kind of still maintain his confidence and kept shooting it. And obviously shots started falling. So shout out to Jason Tatum on that. And Jaylen Brown throughout the series played really well. Uh you know Smart, Brogdon, they play well. Um I think for the 76ers, there were just some inconsistencies, um, in the play of their superstars. You know, you had the games, 2 games where James Harden had about 40 plus, and then the others kind of was didn't play too well. Um, wasn't playing at a superstar caliber level. Same with Embiid, had about a couple games where I think like maybe 1 or 2 games where he was dominating, and the rest he was average player. And so you need obviously the playoffs, you need your superstars to have to carry you, to lead you, and to win games for you. And they gotta have dominating performances you know every game. You need them to do that every game. And they were they didn't were unable to do that. And so ultimately they did not win the series. And so I think they should got a nice group of guys. I just think maybe um they have a nice group. First, they made the news that Doc Rivers got fired. Um, I'm not sure if that's the should be necessary change. Maybe, maybe not. We'll just have to see. But they have a nice crew of guys. Maybe some bench pieces or so. But yeah. And then lastly, um, between the Lakers and the Warriors, I was correcting my pick between the two. I had picked Lakers to advance, and they did. Lakers won the series. Um, AD played well. Very well. In a couple games. Really was good defensively. LeBron showed up. Each and every game you had. Uh, whether it's D'Lo, Austin Reeves, Schroeder, you know, show up and have some Lonnie Walker, show up and have some, good games, to help them. Uh, you know, it's just been, the help of the role players and the guys around LeBron and AD that I think has really helped them throughout, the playoffs and just like the run that they've had. After that trade deadline, um, the Warriors, it just, they didn't shoot it that well. Jordan Poole had a rough run, had a rough series, and ultimately they were dependent on him, on Jordan Poole, in terms of his contribution um, to the team, in terms of his scoring ability, averaging at least around 20 points a game. But, he didn't have a good series, didn't shoot it that well. And so, did the rest. Obviously Steph is going to do his thing. But that's expected. It's, Steph Curry. But the rest of the squad, Clay did well. The rest of the squad didn't really shoot it that well. So I think, and then, obviously size and, couldn't, wasn't a good matchup, like I said and initially for against the Lakers. And so, uh, um, they were unable to win, but, obviously it's a championship team. For me, I think, they don't need to, probably just add a couple pieces. Just kind of talk about, getting rid of Pocket, getting rid of Jordan Poole and things like that. I just think that's just prisoner of the moment. We've seen, Jordan Poole over the past, 2 years really elevate his game, show that he's, a six-man, starter in the league, averaging, around, 20 points a game. Um, he can do that. So, he had a rough series, and, didn't, it happens to, it happens, you know what I mean? And so, I would just, suggest that, Jordan Poole, you know, hang his head high and keep, working on his game. And, he'll be right back in it at it next year with them, hopefully, you know what I'm saying? And, I'm sure, next, the shots are going to fall at some point. So, no, I don't think that they should get rid of Jordan Poole. Obviously it's NBA, it's a league. I mean, it's a business and stuff. So, if a deal comes up and it's, they think it's beneficial or whatever, they gotta do what they gotta do. But I don't think they need to get rid of Jordan Poole. They need to resign, find a way to, the Draymond and Poole thing. I don't know really the status of the relationship, whatever. But you want to bring back Draymond. Obviously, he's one of the core pieces to their franchise. Um, and hopefully, um, they can add some new guys, some new guys on free agency or something, and they be right back in the mix. So, you know, pretty. It was definitely a nice, you know, round of games, and so obviously you gotta get to this next round, and so we got um the Lakers versus the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. Definitely gonna be some great offensive prowessness, I believe, in this series. Both teams have some great offensive players, starting with Joker. Um, he's been a monster throughout the playoffs, throughout the year, and I'm expecting him to, still have, the same level triple double kind of play. I haven't seen anybody really stop him. And I haven't seen anybody stop him all year in terms of his play. And so I'm suspecting he have a hell of a series to continue. I think a lot of it is gonna come down to the other his teammates. Jamal Murray gotta have a great series, averaging at least something like 24, 25 a game. That'd be really good or something. Porter Jr. gotta play well. Aaron Gordon, like, you know, these guys gotta step up, and they have been. There hasn't been any let ups and no real signs of them letting up. They've been playing well all throughout the year. Just been kind of people just you know doubting and how good they are, and you know they're a hell of a team. And so they definitely have a good chance in this series. Um, then you got the Lakers, obviously probably the hottest team in the past 3 months. Just the chemistry, it's when they're in one of those situations where they've you know they've caught fire. They've gotten hot at the best time. Um, and they're just on a real good streak. And I know they're looking to continue that, and you know for me, I think AD, same as I've been saying, he's got to be the best player on the floor for the Lakers if they want to, win. And that's not just speaking from an offensive standpoint, but both offensive and defensively, because I think right now at this stage in the careers between LeBron and AD, I think on AD's best day versus LeBron's best day, I think AD's the better player currently right now in the prime or where they're at in their career. I think AD's best is a lot more dominating than LeBron's best right now in their careers. And so, AD got to be dominating on both ends. I think LeBron got to be aggressive. I think he needs to have an aggressive approach um, coming into this series. I think he needs to, have an aggressive offensive approach. And obviously you got to play defense, but offensively, I think he needs to be aggressive. Look for his shot and be physical. Obviously, D'Lo and Austin Reeves and Schroeder, they gotta Rui Hachimura, Lonnie Walker, they gotta have big games, or one of these guys gotta show up, and be one of the featured players with AD and LeBron. And they've also, those guys haven't um, let them down. So it's gonna be this series goes to about 6 or 7. And I believe that the Lakers are able to advance. Um, Again, I think that AD he's going, I think he's going to show up. He's going to be dominating. LeBron's going to show up. Well, you got two superstars against one. This is a series that is going to be very uh, uh, say a lot about the Denver Nuggets. This is going to be a series that really um, defines to see, where, Joker really ranks in this league. If he's able to win this series, I mean, against him being the only superstar versus, up against two superstars. I think this if he's able to win this series, it really goes to show, I think, in terms of where people are gonna rank Joker, I think a lot of people are gonna bump him a lot higher. I think this series is gonna say a lot about, where, a lot of, the media and the politics, whatever, where they're ranking not just Joker, but just the Denver Nuggets as a team. Because throughout the year, they've been playing well. They've been the number one seed, but people have always kind of like, when it comes to who they're picking to win or who's better, they've been picked other teams ahead of them. So, this is a statement series for Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic. So, then and they do have a chance, but ultimately I do believe the Lakers advance and they win it. Um, but it's gonna be difficult, man. It's gonna be very difficult, man. It's gonna be very difficult, but I think the Lakers advance ultimately. So yeah. Celtics versus Heat, Eastern Conference Finals. I think the Celtics kind of had some rough. They've kind of been. Then they're catching fire now. They starting to catch their stride in the playoffs. Early on in the playoffs, whether it's with Atlanta, they had some games where they came out kind of flat. Even with the Sixers, but I think the sense of urgency is now gonna be there for them. I think they're realizing how close they are and to where they will go, and so um, they're gonna be come out guns blazing, and you know expecting Jason Tatum to continue his play as a recent playing well. Jaylen Brown, Smart, Brogdon, these guys to come out and play very well, and then uh, when you're talking about the Heat, they've been on a hell of a run as well. I know most people did not see them being, obviously where they're at currently, Eastern Conference Finals. I was, can admit for myself, did not think that they would be where they're at, but they are where they're at nonetheless, and they're where they're at for a reason, and so they're going to be a tough outing, as they have been throughout the playoffs. They're going to come to compete. Jimmy Butler's, you already know Jimmy Butler's coming to play. Bam, Kyle Lowry's, been playing very well as of late. And so, they're going to come out, they're going to compete. They have a lot of playoff experience. They've been here before. So this is going to be a tough series. I think this series goes to six, maybe 7 games, but likely I would say 6 games, six games, maybe 7. And I do believe that the Boston Celtics advance, and the road for the Heat, their road stops. I have been wrong throughout. I have to admit, I have been wrong about the Heat throughout the playoffs. Every team that every series of theirs, I have picked the other team, and I have been wrong. But I do believe that this series, the road comes to a halt, and they do not advance. But obviously, they definitely have a good chance of winning, and it's going to be a tough outing, and it's going to be entertaining. So I'm going to be looking forward to watching this series, as well as the Lakers and Nuggets as well. So next topic. What I think differentiates superstar / star players from role players in the NBA. Personally, I've been watching the NBA almost all my life, and not just the NBA. I've played at and seen all the levels of basketball. College, high school, AAU, CYO, whatever you want to say. And when it comes to, from my own perspective, and just really watching guys from a keen standpoint, when you're talking about the NBA, these are guys who have dominated at some level preceding getting to the NBA. So whether it's collegiate, high school, AAU, international play, these guys have all dominated at some level. At some point, they've shown dominance at some level preceding this, and some more than others. So of his opinion, but Um, they've all dominated. They've been star players. But you get to the NBA, which most would consider to be the highest level of basketball play, most known league, most branded league, most historic league there is for basketball. And from what I've seen, uh, what really differentiates the LeBrons, the Mines, the Magic Johnson, the Larry Birds, the list going on, Kobe's, is the consistency and the discipline in which they approach the game. There is a supreme level of discipline and consistency that these players, the superstars, possess, that the other guys on the team do not come with the same approach. Um, LeBron consistently, you can bank on a night to night basis. He's going to put up 27, 7 assists, 7 rebounds. That's consistent. It's not a matter of, he drops 31 game and then he drops 6. He drops 25 one game, then he drops 8. Like that's not superstars drop their average consistently. They're dropping around that 25, 26, 28, whatever, consistently on a night to night basis. Okay. And they do it, a lot of ways efficiently. You know, of course, you're going to have games where you don't shoot that well. That's just part of playing the game. But these guys are, they're efficient as well. I think, when you're talking about the lower tier players, they don't exhibit that same level of consistency. They may come in, every guy in the NBA, and you can speak to guys that's in the NBA, they'll likely tell you any guy can put 20 a night. They can drop 20, maybe even 30. Is capable. If you give them enough shots, they can drop 30, but they won't do it every night. Every night they're not going to drop 30. The ninth, 10th guy on an NBA team, he might have a 20-point game, but he's not going to do this every single night. Put up 25, put up 20, the role players aren't doing that. They can do that every so often. They might do that once, twice, and out of 10 games, they might get 20 maybe once or twice. They, depending on, the flow of the game or whatever. It can happen, but it's not consistent. They'll do that and then have a 6-point game, an 8-point game, a 2-point game. That's what makes them role players. That's how over the years when the NBA, these NBA scouts and these guys are looking at the players, this is the box that they end up fitting because they can't be as consistent as the superstar players. So it's like you have to just be a role player. You come in, you have, a lower, responsibility on the team in terms of what you have to contribute. And uh it's nothing, it's nothing really wrong. It just is what it is. But yeah. And it kind of, and it goes, from that, whether it's from superstars star role to, whatever. Guys who really, who don't play much or whatever. Um, that's just kind of how the how it works, and you know that's just you know when I see um the Steph Currys and is he's consistent. Giannis is they're consistent. They play great for the most part. I mean, of course, they're humans. Then they're they you guys have nights where they have bad games, bad shooting games, bad. They might make a turnover. Some bad turnovers. It's part of playing the game. But like I said, the superstar players are consistent in terms of the greatness that they you know contribute to their team. You know, like I said, the greats of the greats have had shortcomings, bad games, bad plays, you know, injured happens, part of playing, but it's not consistent, you know, and so, that's just my opinion on, what differentiates these guys in terms of, their tiers and stuff like that. My perspective on the Ja Morant situation, incident, you know, all over the, platforms, socials, you see, everybody, obviously giving their opinion that on the Ja Morant situation where it was alleged he's showing that he's had the gun in his hand with his, said, I don't know, his friend or so. Um, I think, um, a lot of guys are coming down hard on him. But I'm gonna take, I guess a different approach, which is my approach to it. I think, you know, he's a young player, 20, he's 23, in his fourth year. Um, he just needs, guidance, you know, some, you know, we you can talk to people who are a lot older and they'll tell you, they've made bad decisions, they made mistakes, not just once, multiple occasions, Um, no, they end up learning from it. Some don't, but um for those, some people will tell you, they learn from it. And for Ja, it's gonna be a matter of him learning from from the situation and understand, you know, him being responsible in the way that he uses a gun and understanding, what it means to have a gun and how to use it because it may come off, at least maybe from a lot of people's perspectives, or let me just say my perspective, it's like he's showing a gun in cases and situations and circumstances where he doesn't need to. And I think that that's really what it is because obviously we understand that it's legal to have a gun and, you have to have a license and things of that nature. But the difference is that he's letting his gun out or showing guns in circumstance he doesn't there's no danger. He's not in a situation where he needs to protect himself. So he doesn't necessarily need to be showing that he has a gun. Um so I think that's really what is the confusion. Um because like you're not in a situation of harm, danger, protect yourself. Why are you showing a gun? So he needs to understand that he needs to. I hope he has his gun license and stuff, but he needs to understand that he should only be using, or showing a gun or whatever the case may be if he's in a situation where he needs to use it in protection, harm, danger. Shouldn't be out publicly showing he has a gun. Obviously, he's a big, he's a public figure, national figure. He's in the NBA. Eyes are all over him, and there's a lot of young kids who obviously admire him. And so they're seeing that, and he needs to be aware of that. He needs to understand that, um, and he got to be more responsible. And the way he, presents himself to the public, and the areas he goes and how he conducts himself, he needs to be more responsible in the way he does things. And he's a great player. He's a young guy. I know. I think he's a guy that um, can overcome this. He got a long career ahead of him, and I think that a lot of people, you know, just want to see him play out that career. Um, because he's a young, very young, talented, promising player, and I think it's a lot of us, including myself, who want to see him play out and have a long career in the NBA. You don't want things to get out of control, and some crazy kind of situation happen. A friendly fire situation happen. Who knows? Obviously we've seen the situation with Takeoff where friendly fire. Things get hectic. So, um, that's the thing that um, I know for myself. I don't want to happen to Ja Morant, and you know, he just he gotta do better, and like I said, well, he conducts himself, and yeah, he'll be back. The NBA is obviously going to make their decisions on how they want to, you know, handle the situation. He's going to have to adhere to it, and abide by what the NBA wants for him to do. And when he gets back, he's going to have to, like I said, present himself in a better way, in a way that they can trust him to you know to be a good example for you know not just guys in the NBA, but people all over who watch the NBA brand, or who are not just fans of the NBA but fans of him, Ja Morant. So that's just my perspective, man. Good luck to you, brother. I wish you the best. And yeah, that's the end of this episode. Obviously gonna get more analysis, man, of my opinion on the NBA playoffs. Obviously we got the finals after this, and so this is gonna be great. Watching the conference finals play out, and yeah, man. Wish y'all the best. See y'all later.